This week on the ADG podcast, we'll be talking music. We have a brand new movie review. We have a brand new segment, and we have a special guest. All that and more on the ADG podcast. The only thing that's different is Martin Lawrence's face is fatter. Hold up, Mike. I gotta catch my breath, Mike. I do like chicken sandwiches. Well, who else would you have on the cover of Playboy these days, right? See if you can polish this term. I'm trying to be positive here, Jake.
Okay.
Jake is also available for anniversaries and birthday parties.
I thought you were gonna tell me treat him like cats and sprayed him with a water bottle.
No.
Not enough money behind this podcast to get him on here. Because it's not the kids' fault they're shitheads. It's not. It's the parents' fault. The parents are shitheads too. Why are you talking shit? Have you won anything? No, then shut the fuck up. Wait, nobody ever said there was a plot to Rambo. Delete your account, go back to bed, cry for a couple of days, and reflect on what you're actually going to do with your life.
All right, welcome everybody to the ADG podcast. I'm Jakub. Darrin is also here. We're both awake, ready to go because, first smells of sports are coming back.
Yes.
Darrin, do you smell it?
Oh, in the words of The Rock, can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Right.
Yes, exactly. Right. There's I've finally reached the deal between the players and the owners of Major League Baseball. That the Major League Baseball season will kick off at the end of July, either July 23rd or 24th. Later in sports, we'll have a special guest, Chris Castellani, will join us. He is a Detroit Tiger baseball enthusiast, knows everything about the game, especially when it comes to our lovable Tigers. So he'll join us. He'll give us his thoughts on the upcoming shortened season. So stay tuned for that. But Jake, what I have to say, let's start with, I know we like to start with this team a lot, but this week they did something is either questionable or just same old. The Detroit Lions, yes, those Detroit Lions owner has stepped down. Martha Ford has stepped down, only to give power of the team to her daughter, Shelley Ford Ham. Jake, your thoughts when you first...
Sheila Ford Ham.
Sheila, not Shelley. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No,
okay. So, Jake, your first initial thoughts when you heard that?
It's funny. That's not the first time that I was asked this question since it happened. Because, what do you think? What do you think? Are they going to do anything? Is it going to get any better?
You always put a positive spin on things.
I am a ray of sunshine towards this team. No, unfortunately, to bust everybody's bubble. Yeah. No. You can't do this move unless it's health related at this point. If you wanted to do this move, it should have been done at the end of, let's say, last season, where the new owner can kind of lead the team in their direction. Well, with what's happening, you might have an NFL season. Your team's kind of in shambles because the coaching staff sucks. Draft was and the team's just blah. Like, there's really nothing there. You're not competing for anything. Your goal is to be at 500. This is the Lions right now. So changing ownership at this point in the, basically, if this was real time, if not COVID, you'd be getting ready for camps.
Right.
It's not a good time. You should have done this at the end of the season so you get everybody kind of organized, prepared, on the same page. Now it's just a waste of time. Now, there's no really big reason to do it now. So it's an inside thing that we don't know exactly why Martha Ford stepped down. Could be health reasons or whatever. But this year is not going to matter. And the way this is staying in the family, honestly, I don't think this is going to change anything at all.
Well, it's right for fans like us, more negative fans like you, to have
wow.
I know, right? We're already off to a flying start. Have like a sour taste of this news in their mouth. But something I saw online when she had like her little inaugural Zoom press conference about this is that she promises to be more accessible to the fans and the media, which would be great if she really means what she says, where she will actually, get out and address the media and the fans in public, and not just sit in an office and just write a press release.
Yeah,
and
Darrin, if she should be more accessible to winning. I don't care about how accessible you are. Winning.
Well,
That's it. Nothing
you
else.
got to start somewhere, I guess. Hey,
well, okay.
I would love if a Detroit Lions owner would actually get out there and speak, especially if the team is sucking like it has been in the past.
It always sucks, so she's gonna speak at some point.
Well, but have you ever seen Martha do that? No. And before
did I want to see Martha speak? No.
Well, hey, if she's so active in all these NFL owners meetings and blah blah blah, why didn't we see it?
That's all her energy right there. Her energy is getting there.
And her being her being 94, she probably doesn't have the energy for it anymore. She's getting up there in age. Obviously, this has been a long time coming. They were grooming her, Sheila, for this position, and now it's her ball to run with when it comes to the Detroit Lions. And she was also one of the main decision makers when it came to bringing back Patricia and Quinn. So,
boom, lost me.
So these are her boys that she has a lot of faith in. Mm-hmm. And if they lay an egg this upcoming year, she has to do her job and get rid of them.
So there, everything you just said, including the whole ball and her, whatever, and Quinn Patricia. Well, this is a typical Lions scenario where she's gonna drop the ball, and because she already started off on a shitty path by hiring these guys. And I'm not a big fan of Quinn Patricia there.
Well, she was just one of the voices in the room of for Patricia and Quinn when it came to decision. But another quote from her is that she says, "I'll do anything to build a winner." So,
okay, fire those two.
So there you go. She goes. Her father, the William Clay Ford, owner of the Lions, she grew up attending games and being around the team, and she knew then NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle from her dad's dealing in the league. Is I want to see him, and he literally could not think of anything for a female to do way back then. So it's awesome to see how things change from back then to where women have come, especially in the NFL, which was such a male-dominated league on and off the field for so many years. So
and that's all great and good, but this is the Detroit Lions we're talking about, and they need to win. There's no other choice but to win. You sucked as much as you can suck in the history of sucking. Yeah. It needs to be a change.
Well, hopefully they're on the right path. If the old man couldn't get it done, and his son couldn't get it done, and the old lady couldn't get it done, if she fails with this, you got to sell the team. You just have to.
Ooh, Darren's on the dark side.
I'm just saying, Jake. I'm just saying, Jake. It has to happen. It has to happen. Because how long can you hold on to a franchise that just year after year just disappoints and disappoints?
That is very true. No truer words have ever been spoken.
Well, and another, I think, interesting tidbit that came out of this is that when the topic was brought up about Colin Kaepernick, and say that the new ownership, Sheila, would be open for them to sign Kaepernick if it was a right fit for the coaches and general manager.
Sure, the team doesn't have talent. Add less talent.
Well, it just gives
Kaepernick's not very good.
Jake, it gives them a little bit better option than Jeff Driscoll.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Just
a third quarterback that can't play.
Or David Blau.
This guy ain't signing for less than $15 million a year, and he's trash.
$15 million
Go,
a year.
yeah.
Oh,
He's not going to sign for anything less. Come on, he wants to be a
wow.
starter. He is trash. He's never have a starting job. He's not very good. You've seen him play. He hasn't played in the league for how many years? And you think you just get back into the league? No, CFL for you, buddy. Peace out.
That's right. Well, let's. That was a fun little trip when it comes to talking about Lions. Let's.
NFL's great. Yes.
Yes. So Jake, COVID is just running wild, and all these teams I see are just players being infected, from NFL to NHL players to NBA players are getting.
NBA,
yeah. I don't know exactly. Well, with the whole NBA playing in Walt Disney World and Florida is just having this boom of COVID cases on the rise. In the past few weeks, like, is this going to make you more inclined to watch NBA, or are you like, meh? I'll watch it.
You're right. It's the NBA. I love the NBA. NBA is great. Yeah. Except LeBron, he's not great. But the NBA cannot be going to Florida. In the last 2 days, they've had 4,000 and 4,500 cases confirmed in the last 2 days each day. That's almost 10,000 people. That's insane. You can't possibly go to Florida and do that unless you have a giant Stephen King type bubble over wherever you're playing, and no one goes in and out. But that's insane.
Yeah, so it's just crazy what's going on. But so NBA, they still have they have a long way to go before they even consider like opening up training camp and resuming their season, which I really don't think is going to happen. Some hockey news. I know, Jake, you're a big hockey fan, so this is.
Yeah, I just yawned. I knew this was coming.
Oh, I know. So the NHL have announced its Hockey Hall of Fame class of 2020
interesting
induction. So, so Jerome McGillna, Marian Hossa, former Detroit Red Wings general manager Ken Holland, Kevin Lowe, Kim St. Pierre, and Doug Wilson will be selected into the Hockey Hall of Fame. So there you go.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a good
so
class.
It's good to see Ken Holland get his rightful place inside the hall. Including he was a GM for the Wings for 22 years. He architected 4 Stanley Cup championship squads in that span, 3 as the GM, and built a club into a perennial powerhouse that made the playoff a whopping 25 straight times from 1991 to 2016. That is very impressive. And that's coming as a Leaf fan. So
yeah, you got to give him credit.
Sometimes
it's one of those streaks.
Exactly. So, and of course, they're still prepping their potential return to the arenas when it comes to finishing their playoffs, I guess, for the NHL. They have narrowed down the cities for the hub cities to 6 teams, including Toronto, Edmonton, Vegas, I believe here. Dallas, I believe, is on the list. Trying to see what else is there. Okay, so the final, so Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Chicago, Vancouver, Edmonton, and Toronto are the 6 remaining teams that are in the running to host as a hub city for the 2014 playoff format.
That's not bad. I would probably Edmonton would, to me, seem as the obvious option, being far away from everything.
So do you think there's going to be 2 hub cities or 1?
A couple. You have to have a couple. There's too much. They're gonna take up too much space. It's hockey. They need rinks. They need practice time. They need warm up time.
You need
hotels, accommodation. It's a lot of people. Yeah. So. Yeah, definitely.
So there you go. So from all that good times to all this happy news when it comes to baseball, and we'll get into our interview. But I want to get Jake's thoughts on the MLB coming to a decision and I should say an agreement with the players to do a 60-game season. So, Jake, is that going to make you more inclined to watch baseball this year since there's only 60 games?
Yeah, but I think they kept the playoff format the same.
It'll be the same.
So therefore, our shitty team that's rebuilding
they have a chance,
but that would require them to actually overachieve. So, yeah, they have a chance. Like if they get on a roll, they get that 10-game, 15-game nice streak where they're like 11-4 or something like that. Yeah, it'll be very interesting.
Exactly. Well, there's going to be, they're going to expand their roster size. So the Tigers have a lot of young talent, really good young talent. This is a nice audition for those young talented arms and those talented bats coming up. So we'll talk to our Detroit Tiger insider, Chris Castellani,
very shortly.
In a few, and he'll get his thoughts on this. He's very passionate, very outspoken, hard-headed, hot-blooded Italian. So Jake's used to that.
There we go.
I knew you would like him, Jake. That's it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Good. Can't wait for that.
That's it.
But yeah, that's sports. Not much sports, and as you know, everybody's watching soccer.
Yeah.
A lot of soccer.
Soccer.
Crazy soccer. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit of soccer.
Jake now with the soccer report.
No soccer reports, because we would lose everybody, all 3 people listening, if we talk soccer. But no, it's interesting how long they've been playing already in Europe, and how we still don't even have a plan for any sports.
Especially the English Premier League just kicked off last weekend. Resumed their regular season, so that was good to see. Italy has been playing for a couple of weeks, and along with the Spanish
and the Germans.
Can't forget the Germans. Yep. So it's been. I'll admit I've been watching more of it lately, especially the Serie A and the Coppa Italia. It was some good competitive soccer.
There you go. Well, the Euro's been moved to next year, so next year will be interesting.
We'll have that to look forward to.
Yeah. Good. All right, so let's get to our interview.
Talking about baseball, Jake and I, we're proud and pleased to have Chris Castellani on with us to talk about the Detroit Tigers and what can they do in a 60-game MLB season. Chris, we're so glad to have you on. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. I appreciate you guys having me.
Pleasure's all ours. So you being a host of your own Tigers podcast, Locked On Tigers, you can find it anywhere podcasts are played. So Chris, you must be the most excited person, especially in this area, being a baseball enthusiast that you are. What were your first initial thoughts when a deal has been struck between the players and the owners?
Well, your initial reaction is a whole lot of relief, as a baseball fan, but especially as one who creates baseball content. These last couple months have been remarkably challenging, trying to put together content to entertain people when the sport that you cover has been non-existent. So tremendous relief. There is still, and I brought this up in the video that I made and brought it up on my podcast as well, there is also, a bittersweet taste to it because, obviously the pandemic wiped out a large chunk of the season, but the handling of these labor negotiations was really an embarrassment, and it got very ugly and kind of turned into a joke, and the amount of games they could have played devolved from, potentially 100 to 80 to 70 all the way down to 60. But with that said, I'm glad it's back. You absolutely needed to have it for the sake of the sport maintaining whatever popularity you might have. You could not have afforded to go an entire year without playing baseball, and it's going to make for a novelty experiment of a season. That's the way I'm kind of looking at it right now. It will be extremely interesting. It will be strange. There's been several new rules implemented. What this is going to be is kind of a trial run, and how all these things work out regarding the relief pitchers and regarding the rules in extra innings with a starting runner at second. I think after 2020, we're going to look at a lot of this stuff, and Major League Baseball and the Players Association will kind of pick and choose what stuff worked and what stuff didn't, and what's going to be a very novelty season.
Exactly. And another thing that they brought up is the expanding roster size of the teams for this shortened season. Now you look at a young team like Detroit, who has a lot of talent, especially when it comes to arms and bats. Do you see how many players of these young core that they have in the minors up with the big club this year?
Well, we're going to find out, and there's a couple things that still need to be sorted out. Mainly, how this stuff is going to affect service time. Ideally, we would all love to see Mize, Manning, and Skubal pitching for the Tigers, but you don't want to sacrifice a full year of their rookie contracts if they're only going to make 10 starts. Now, there is a trade deadline halfway through the season, which is technically August 31st. That could provide them with an opportunity to call these guys up. Well, an agreement has been made, and there will be baseball in 2020. There are still several things that need to be sorted out regarding service time, regarding if there's going to be any sort of instructional league or fall league going forward for these minor leaguers. The one point that I will make, and having watched these guys extensively, both in the minor leagues and in spring training and the limited action they've gotten, there are certain guys in this farm system that I think would benefit from another year or two in the minor leagues. That three-headed monster of pitchers with Mize, Manning, and Skubal do not fall into that category. These are three guys who have dominated every level of baseball that they've pitched at since high school, probably even before high school. They dominated Double-A last year with really one of the best minor league pitching staffs that we've seen in a long time, not just in Detroit, but really in all of baseball. Those guys are ready. And with the expanded rosters, it'll be interesting to see how they handle calling these guys up, when we're going to see them. And there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered. But I do believe at some point during this 60-game season, one, if not more than one of these guys will be pitching at the major league level for Detroit.
No, absolutely. Because not only the arms, but you look at the bats. Riley Green, there's a lot of talk of him coming up and joining the big club. And are they going to be willing to sacrifice a year of his rookie deal on a shortened season, like you said? But them going into the draft where they picked up the first overall pick, Spencer Torkelson, they were going into this MLB draft having the fifth best, I believe it was fifth best farm system in Major League Baseball. You add a number one pick like Torkelson, and just the rich keep getting richer. How excited are you for the future of this team?
It's the first time during this entire rebuild that I've actually started to believe that Al Avila might have some idea what he's doing. Because I think you look at, there's so many things that have happened that they have fumbled. I think they have mishandled every trade deadline. I think when you look at the deals that have been made for some of these guys who have been superstars, JD Martinez, Yoenis Cespedes, Justin Upton, Justin Verlander. I mean, it's unless Daz Cameron has improves immensely in the next year or so, and unless Franklin Perez magically heals himself, that is going to end up going down as one of the most lopsided trades in the history of baseball. They will have traded the best pitcher in the history of their organization essentially for nothing.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of how they've drafted, in terms of how they've developed, it is the best this farm system has been since the late 70s, when you had guys like Kirk Gibson and Trammell and Whitaker down in the system, Jack Morris. It's the best that it's been since then, and I do have to give them a lot of credit because being a GM And when you have such a long leash like Al Avila has, you are given the opportunity to acknowledge your mistakes and try to correct them. And I think one of the big knocks against them for several years, I criticized them for it, many other people criticized them for it, was the lack of offensive talent in this farm system. It was undeniable, even before Casey Mize, but really, especially after they drafted him, that there was a surplus of really good young arms in this system. Alex Faedo, Casey Mize, Matt Manning, Tariq Skubal, Kyle Funkhauser, Bo Burrows, several guys. The list goes on and on. Franklin Perez when he's healthy. But the one thing that people were saying is where's the offensive talent? Isaac Paredes, he's okay. Des Cameron, maybe. But you started to see them acknowledge those mistakes. And in the last 2 drafts, they went out, they got Riley Green with their first pick in 2019, who thus far has exceeded pretty much all the expectations people had in place for him. They drafted him as a guy with an incredibly high ceiling. I've been hearing a lot of people. I remember Dan O'Dowd on MLB Network saying that he believes he's going to be a superstar. And then you have a 5-round draft this year where you take nothing but hitters, and including 4 or 5 college position players. That is, to me, Al Avila acknowledging the error of his ways, acknowledging the mistakes that he's made, some of them irreversible. You cannot go back in time and fix the disaster of the Verlander deal. You cannot go back in time and fix the disaster of the JD Martinez deal, but you can try to correct for the future. And right now, I think with the draft they just had, they have cemented themselves going forward as one of the probably 3 to 6 best farm systems in all of baseball.
Absolutely. You know what? I couldn't say it better myself. They really, that's where the fans and the media that, they really, Al Avila is really start to listen to the people that pay to come see these guys play. No matter how much we love to see great pitching, we want to see the balls leave the park. And exactly that's what they're investing all their draft and their money in. But Chris, let's get to this season and this shortened season right now. 60 games with this team that they have currently on paper right now. Do you see any chance with obviously they play everyone in their division, and they're going to be playing in the NL Central against Cubs, Cards, and all those other teams. Do you see any chance where they maybe can start to get off to a hot streak where we've seen them do it before? And could this team surprise people in a shortened season?
Okay. The chances of them competing in a 60-game season are admittedly exponentially higher than in a 162-game season. Right. But to answer your question, no, I don't think they have a chance. Look, I know there's a lot of reason to be excited for the future here. They have a great farm system with a lot of young talent. They lost 114 games last year. And they started the year 8-4. That was their hot streak. That was the best baseball they played. And after that, it was complete disaster. That was 12 games. That is equivalent to 1/5 of a 60-game season. So I think, look, do I think that they could be a team that could, maybe be, 10, 15 games below 500, maybe not be the complete dumpster fire disaster that they were a year ago? I think so, because as bad as last year was, right, and it was the worst, you had pretty much every guy that you were hoping to rely on that you thought may take a step forward, take a step back. Miggy took another step back. Candelario, who for a minute there you thought was your third baseman of the future, got sent down to the minors. Kristen Stewart, who people thought was going to be okay, was a disaster in left field and not much better offensively. It was just a horrific season. I think to a certain extent, water will find its level, and you'll see some guys putting up better numbers. But all in all, this is still, in terms of talent at the major league level, one of the 5 worst baseball teams in the sport. And I think ultimately, even through 60 games, your record will reflect that. And yes, there are situations kind of, the inverse of, they could be like an inverse of what we saw last year, where the Nationals started out 19-31 and ended up winning the World Series. Those are outliers. Those are exceptions and not the rules. I don't think the Tigers will be the inverse of that, a team that gets off to that hot of a start. Do I see them maybe having a 10-game stretch or 20-game stretch where they hover around 500 and play some competitive baseball? Absolutely. But the other thing that's being overlooked here too, the division is good. I mean, people always like to crap on the Central. It's a good division now. You have a team in the Twins last year that won 100 games. You have the Indians, who are always competitive with a great pitching staff. You have the White Sox, who I think for the next 3 or 4 years are going to be one of the most dangerous teams in the entire sport. Yeah, the Royals stink, but at least they have an identity, it seems. They always have a few. That offense isn't terrible. So I think it's going to be tough sledding no matter what for the Tigers.
So adding to that, with the league kind of did to Tigers a little solid here by keeping the playoff format the same. If they expanded it, would that make it any, well, I don't want to say easier, but would their odds go up that a little notch also, because whatever their plans were to maybe expand the playoff?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, with more teams, you're going to be, more likely to make the postseason. So, I mean, it's definitely possible. I get what you're saying there. I understand the question completely. Yeah, it would have been more likely, but and there is still a little bit of talk, maybe, about possible postseason expansion. Like I said, they were just rushing to get a deal out, and they did. There are still a few loose ends that need to be tied. Maybe expanded postseason will be one of them, but I think especially with the recent spikes in COVID in certain states, I don't really see that being a possibility.
With them playing in front of empty stadiums because of COVID, it's going to definitely be a different feeling at the ballpark. So are you expecting high TV numbers for baseball once it finally comes back at the end of July?
That is a good question, because if they would have started this thing in June or May, which is probably when they should have, I would have said, oh yeah, completely. But I think there have been a lot of people who have been burned out by the process a bit with the labor negotiations. I think ratings will be good. Initially, I think they'll be good. I think they'll probably be the best that there's been on opening day in the last decade or so. But pretty soon after that, we're going to see the NBA coming back. The NFL is going to be back here in a few months. College football and that stuff is kind of undetermined, but I think initially the ratings will be fine and baseball will view it as a success. But in the long run, I think there's more fail here than there is positivity, simply because of the length and the just annoyance that was these labor negotiations.
Awesome. So let us a little bit more information about your Locked On Tigers podcast. How often do you do it? And more details about your show, when it started, and where you can find it.
Yep. Well, currently it's 3 days a week. But when the season starts up, once we get to the regular season, we'll be doing 5 days a week, as was kind of initially anticipated. With Locked On, we'll be doing 5 days a week. I like to view it as an extension of the post game videos that I do on Twitter, except with a little bit more analysis, so a little bit more insight, longer format. What you get on Twitter is very much the quick hits. It's kind of like I put all my thoughts in a blender and kind of stir them up. With this, you get the opportunity to expand on the thoughts that I had in these post games, talk a little bit more about these guys individually, get a little bit more analytical, and all in all, try to have a fair amount of fun as well. You can find that there. My personal Twitter account as well. You can find the links to all that stuff at Castellani 2014, and then of course. I also have a YouTube page as well, which I'm really, really trying to get off the ground here, where I'm reviewing movies. So if you people could follow me on all those platforms, it would be much appreciated.
There you go. Awesome. We will definitely share all that on all of our social media. And reviewing movies, well, that's a little different hop from the Tigers.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's been something that I've, it's been a passion of mine for many years now. One of my original thing on YouTube back in the day. I mean, I started reviewing movies on YouTube when I was 12 years old and took a break from it for a long time. But now I'm back as my love of film has kind of grown. And if there's anything good that's come out of this quarantine, it's been that. It's, I've gone back to watching a lot more movies, and I look forward to sharing my opinions with people.
That's
There you
true.
go.
We have lots of time to watch things.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. So quickly, Chris, I must say that I stumbled across your Twitter videos because they were just so darn entertaining, especially after an embarrassing Tiger loss where they blew a lead in the ninth, and you would just get all hot and bothered and just completely spit fire. It was the most entertaining thing. Have you always been that passionate about that team, about this team?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think where a lot of it comes from, too, where that level of vitriol comes from is the fact that, I grew up in an era that a lot of people would consider the golden era of Detroit Tigers baseball, right? 06 to 2014, you win 4 divisions, you make it to the postseason 5 times, you win 2 pennants. You have so much success. You have MVPs and Cy Young winners and guys who are going to be in the Hall of Fame, and yet no world championships. And that, I think, as a fan, kind of hardens you, and it makes you very bitter. And then when you go on to watching a team struggle the way that the recent teams have, you get remarkably frustrated because you don't have a whole lot of great memories to go back on, and at least the good ones you do have are all a little bit tainted because it always ended poorly. I think the energy has always been there, the passion has always been there. That's always been the one thing about my personality that's been undeniable. Even the people who find my videos obnoxious, which even the early stuff, I completely understand that, and I've acknowledged that. I'm not a huge fan of some of my early stuff, but even up to like within the last year, I'm not a huge fan of. I get why people enjoy it, and I'm happy that they've brought people joy. But that the passion's always been there, and that's really where this all started. It was never, at the beginning at least, it was never a I'm doing this to get clout. I'm doing this to grow an audience. And some people thought it was, but the thing is, if I knew how, if I did it on purpose, if I really thought that I knew how to attract an audience and how to grow an audience, I would have done it a lot sooner. Because like I said, I've been making videos online for 9 years before I really, the Tigers stuff really, quote unquote blew up. So it was all kind of a happy accident, but I'm proud of what it's turned into. I'm proud of how it's grown, and I love doing it.
Especially,
we like it too.
Yeah,
keep posting those things, man.
Absolutely, it's great. It's great entertainment and very knowledgeable videos. Yes. Because in this day and age, and Jay can agree with me that this is the way to get noticed and to actually form, to be a. I hate this. Well, I'll say a credible source when it comes to, Twitter and social media and YouTube and Instagram, even, constantly being there, game in and game out, giving your thoughts, laying it down on exactly what went right, what went wrong for this team, game after game. So we highly we thank you for doing that for us. As Tiger fans, we go through the frustration, and you just seem to put it together in 2 minutes and 18 seconds worth of video for us. So we really appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome. So again, check out his Twitter page, YouTube channels, podcasts, especially with the baseball season coming back. He's going to have, Chris is going to have a lot more things to talk about than just union agreements and disagreements.
Right.
So we look forward to that. So Chris, once again, thanks for joining us, and we'll hope to talk to you again soon.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yep. See you.
All right, Darrin, that was awesome. How about we do this day in sports history?
All right. Well, this day says a little bit of everything. Back in 2010, John Isner defeated Nicholas Mahut after 11 hours and 183 games in tennis. I believe it was the U.S. Open. Set the record for the world's longest match ever played.
That's insane.
I know. Like, I can barely watch 2 hours of tennis. Can you imagine?
2 hours? 10 minutes.
10 minutes, I guess. But
no, like, personally, I can't watch tennis more than that. That's 10 minutes. Oh, good. Back and forth. Got it.
Jake, can you imagine?
14 love.
Yeah. That'll be 30 love. Yes. Can you imagine playing for 11 straight hours? And it's just constantly going back and forth. It's like,
they should have thought of something like 5 hours in.
Exactly. You have to like have a referee just flip a coin at the end, after 10 hours maybe.
Yeah.
But so that was that was 10 years ago. And back in 2003, Barry Bonds of the San Francisco Giants became the first player to reach 500 home runs and 500 stolen bases.
Cool. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
You know what? He should be in the Hall of Fame, Jake.
Yeah, I like steroids too.
Yeah. Let's just face it. If you watch that documentary, Long Gone Summer, those two guys, well, not Barry Bonds, but Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, pretty much saved baseball.
They did.
Oh, they did, and it was fun to watch. I remember as a kid watching that race all summer. It was fantastic to see.
I remember that.
Yeah. Back in 1980, the Atlanta Flames of the NHL, yes, Atlanta, before they were called the Thrashers, they were called the Atlanta Flames, moved to Calgary, Alberta. So there you go. So.
Wow. That's a good one.
I know. It's another hockey one. Oh, here's a good one that happened back in 1968. The only reason why I'm talking about this is because it involves a Detroit Tiger. Jim Northrup tied a Major League Baseball record when he hit 2 grand slams in one game. Yep.
Damn. That's a feat.
That is a feat.
Yeah.
That is a feat. And one last one going involving the Tigers, going all the way back to 1962. The New York Yankees beat the Detroit Tigers 9-7 after, get this, 22 innings.
Sweet.
You thought that 11-hour tennis match was long. Who knows?
Yeah, but that's 11 hours of tennis. This is like over 20 innings of baseball.
Yeah.
You know how drunk you can get, how much food you can eat?
Back in 1962, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm sure there was a lot of beers going around and sunflower seeds being chewed. Yeah. Exactly. But that's it. But that's it for this week in sports history.
Awesome. Terrific. Yeah. So what's on the table today for the top 5?
All right. Top 5 here. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jake, but I don't know if we did a top 5 of this category before. I know you're big into the rap music.
Oh, here we go.
So
get my language.
Yes. So I decided to pick this one because I know you would jive well on this one. The top 5.
I'm gonna hate you.
The top 5 rappers of all time.
According to who?
This one is according to top5s.net.
I hate it already.
You hate it already, even though you don't know the site really. Okay, well, this is great. You can either agree with me or disagree.
Okay, based on what? Okay, but go ahead. Yeah, let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. And these are just to clarify, these are not my. This is not my lists. I enjoy rap music from time to time.
So occasionally, once a year, yes.
Not once a year.
When I send you a link from one of our new artists, or
one of our great artists will. I enjoy the rhythm. I enjoy the creativity of the rap and how they can rhyme this word with that word. That's pretty impressive. So let's start with number 5.
That's the most whitest thing ever. Okay, go ahead.
Jake, if we're talking about white, just look in the mirror, my friend. You know.
Okay, I didn't say this word and that word.
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay. Top 5. Let's do it.
For shizzle. Yes, for shizzle. Yes. Is that
we gained more audience members.
There we go. We're street. Coming in at number 5. I've heard of this guy before, and coming in at number 5 is Nas. Nas
is excellent. Yep.
Yes. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is Rakim.
Yes.
Rakim.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. He was here is a legend who made the divide between old school and new school. He had a soft-spoken delivery, which was cautious. He laid the foundation for what modern rappers use. If you listen to Nas and consider what Rakim would do in the same situation, you will see a similarity. That's their reasoning for him.
Both lyricists, yes.
Very good. Number 3, I know this guy. He's pretty popular. Is Eminem.
Yep.
Eminem coming in at number 3. Do you think that's too high, too low?
That's just right. Just right. That's definitely just right. It's because of what he's done for the industry in the last 20 years.
Exactly. So that's coming in at number 3. Number 2, we get to the top 2 here. Now this one might be, I don't know if Jake will agree with this one. Jay-Z.
I hate him. He's trash. His lyrics suck. And he's just garbage. Probably should be in the bottom 5.
What they say about him, yes, you can be a legend while you're still alive, as this artist has gone to show the world. He started with less relaxed flows more than 2 decades ago. All the time he was still working on his craft. Over time he perfected his skills such the flow is tight and his wordplay is on point. The rhymes continue to wow his fans, and he is continually coming up with classics that are sure to leave his competition feeling the heat.
No, he's crap. And the only reason he's like the upgraded P. Diddy, where he's just soft. Yeah. It's not clever.
Okay.
It's not. His writing's terrible. And the only thing is he likes to steal other people's music and make it his own and pretend it's really good, which is not. People will buy it because it's played mainstream over and over and over, and they have nothing really else. But the good thing is he's still trash.
Okay. Well. Yeah. All right. Before we get to number 1, we'll have a couple honorary mentions in this list. Honorable mention goes out to Kanye West.
Yeah, he's okay.
There you go.
Innovative.
Kanye West, Dr. Dre.
No, yeah, should be more for his beats than his rapping.
Okay. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg, younger Snoop Dogg, not now Snoop Dogg.
Younger Snoop Dogg. And number 1 for that is the top rapper of all time is Notorious B.I.G.
As for wordplay, yeah, he's really good. Delivery is amazing.
Yeah,
on him for sure. He's definitely really good. See, I would put Tupac at number 2. Jay-Z can just take a shit somewhere, and I would flip flop those two, number 1 and 2 for sure, anytime, just because of the delivery and the words for the Notorious and Tupac for the storytelling and the realism in his music. There you go.
So there you go. There's your top 5. Tune in next week when Jake will do top 5 greatest hockey players of all time.
Oh, I could do that. I could do that.
You could do that.
I could definitely do that.
I would love to see you pronounce some of those guys' names.
Oh, come on.
Especially the Russian names. That's always fun.
Oh, Sergei Fedorov.
Oh, well, there's more than that.
Obviously. No, there's I can name my top 5 favorite hockey players. That's a deal. Next week.
Okay,
let's do it.
There you go.
All right.
So there's your top 5.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. So let's jump into and break this up a little bit to some music. Because this week we're going international for music again. We have a rock band actually, bringing back old school rock and roll into the mainstream spotlight with their brand new single Shadow Lady. It's RSC. And this rock band has members from Europe, Russia, and the US. And they definitely represent actual rock, which we don't have a lot right now. It's cool. It brings you back. And the brand new single, Shadow Lady, is awesome. I was listening to it today. I'm like, yeah, he's put this on the show. I think I sent you earlier something different. But I'm like, no, Darren, we need to play this. So this is a good track, and breaks up a little. The actual name of the band is Red School Band, Red SSCOOL, so Red School Band. They play a lot in Europe and in Russia and stuff, but they're from all over the place. And yeah, it's refreshing. So we're going to play that. Here is Shadow Lady RSC on the ADG podcast. There you go. That was Shadow Lady by RSC right here on the ADG podcast, bringing you some awesome independent music. And that was some rock right there for everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed that. That's a 5-minute track. That was great. All right, Darren. Movie trailer time. Movie trailer time.
Can't
wait. And I'm telling you, you found a good trailer. I didn't know about this one.
Yeah, this one was getting a lot of good reviews from the last year's film festivals.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Palm Springs, starring Andy Samberg and the lovely Kristen Melody.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, and it's basically a 2020 American romantic comedy that takes place. It's pretty much starts at a wedding where carefree Niles and reluctant maid of honor Sarah have a chance encountered at a Palm Springs wedding. Things get complicated and they were unable to escape the venues themselves or each other. So basically they get caught in a time loop and they repeat the same day over and over again. And the only way to end that day is to die. So they come up with creative ways to kill themselves and still trying to keep themselves from going crazy by reliving the same wedding over and over again. Just so you know, they're not getting married; they're just attending this wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So
the trailer was really funny.
Yeah.
Kind of brings shadows of like Groundhog Day into it.
Mm-hmm.
Of the premise of the movie. Kind of. It's really cool. Acting is pretty good. It looks really funny. It's a Hulu movie, right?
Yep.
So it'll be released online. It looked really good. I actually give it a 4 out of 5 because it looked very entertaining. Something that I definitely want to see as soon as it comes out.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, I kind of agree with you. Like most reviews, especially Rotten Tomatoes, has given 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is phenomenal. So out of 4, I'm gonna go with a solid 4.5.
Oh wow!
Not quite perfect, but it looks pretty good. Looks like the typical summery kind of movie that would come out this time of year. If it wasn't for this COVID happening, it would be a full wedding summer season.
Yes, and that would fit right in.
Yeah, it would fit in perfectly. Mm-hmm. So there you go. So Palm Springs, rom-com. If you like Andy Samberg, you like his style of humor and his comedy, check it out.
Awesome. Definitely will. Cool. All right, so let's do Darren has a new segment.
Yes. New segment time.
New segment time.
Well, I always enjoyed when I'm like in the car listening to the radio, and they always come out with every day it's National blah 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 day, or like National Hot Dog Day, National Coffee Day, National Put Your Socks On Backwards Day. Every day is something different. So I decided that whenever we do these podcasts, I'll have a segment to tell you what day of the year it is.
Let's do it. That sounds fun.
Exactly. So, Jake, with that being said, today we are recording this on Wednesday, June 24th, and it is National Swim a Lap Day.
Swim a lap day.
And it's pretty simple. Take a lap around the pool, that is. Swim a lap day is a day to get your snorkel and goggles on and patronize your local swimming pool, which you can't go to because of COVID-19. It's a great way to get exercise for those who want to get back in shape and feel good. Swimming is a great way to work out every muscle in the body. So today is National Swim a Lap Day.
Nice.
But that's not all.
That's not all.
Because sometimes
there's more.
There is more things that you can do on this day. Today is also Fairy Day.
I'm sorry. What?
Fairy Day.
As in?
Whether you see them as small winged tenders
Jesus.
of a deep natural places
Okay.
of the earth, or a tall, stately figures with fairy skin and hair, there's one thing for certain: the world has been absolutely captured by these by the fairy craze. Is this true, Jake? Because you have a daughter, right?
Oh no, not true. Not true. I hate fairies.
So there's no fairies. So, but it's National Fairy Day. So dress up as a
Okay.
fairy if you want to.
And swim life in my pool. Okay. 2 for 2.
Also, it's National Upcycling Day.
Okay.
Do you need an explanation?
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Okay.
Yep.
Upcycling is a growing trend that's still under the radar for some. Simply, it's all about taking old objects and furniture and adding your own creativity and craft to make something new, unique, and beautiful.
Oh, I understand. It's for hippies and yuppies. Okay, so yeah, that's why it will not be popular. Okay, go ahead. It's called recycling. It's called going to garage sales.
There you go. All right. So there's 2 more things you can do on this day. So
sweet, let's do it.
So after you take your lap, you run around in your ferry and you upcycle some other
person's furniture.
Other person's furniture, or whatever you find by the side of the road these days. You probably get hungry, right?
Uh-huh.
So today's National Pralines Day.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone loves a good praline, I guess. Or
I guess.
If you're a fan, pralines and cream is a popular ice cream flavor. So there you go.
Sounds delicious. Yeah.
So you can enjoy some pralines today.
Okay. This went in a better direction now. Yes, we're good.
And finally, to cap it all off, after you've done all that thing and you want to relax, it is National Guitars on the Beach Day.
Guitars on the beach. Okay.
Yes. So if you have a guitar or you pretend to play the guitar, find your nearest beach and get playing. So there you go.
Very, very cool. Very cool.
That's everything for this days of the year on Wednesday, June 24th.
I can do one of those things. I'm okay with that.
Okay, there you go. And don't forget that the month of June is Pride Month. So all those people celebrating Pride out there, we hope you enjoy your month.
Yep. Good time to get those fair wings out.
There you go. That's why I bet you it goes hand in hand. Go down to the Pride Festival, put on your fairy wings, and have a fun. And it's also Care for Your Grandparents Month.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Excellent. What a combination. I love it. I can't wait till the next one.
There's more, but I think Jake has had enough, and we'll just move on.
I have my fill. That's great. I can't wait to do this again. This is an awesome segment. We're going to
keep it. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. So let's get into some news stories before we get to a new rant. So we all know coronavirus is still out there. Looking at right now, everything that's happening globally, there's 479,881 deaths. And what's been happening, you guys heard earlier, I was talking for Florida, how bad it went there. There's 2,371,000 cases in the U.S. Let me see what Canada's at. 104,000 cases in Canada. Doesn't mean that somebody death is just confirmed cases that people actually have it, because the death rate is very little. Let me tell you, for Canada, it's 8,532 deaths out of 100 and what did I just say? 100 and where is it? 104,000 people. So the percentage of death is much smaller than than other viruses.
Right.
So the numbers are staggering because it's just so contagious. Awesome. So, and as following up with that, Darren, I don't know if you heard what happened today, is that Windsor, Essex County Windsor, and most of
Windsor.
Essex County, Windsor,
Mhm.
and most of Essex County are open into stage 2 from
Yes.
the Ontario government to do
Finally.
more things. The only
Mhm.
places excluded from that order will be Kingsville and Leamington because of their COVID-19 rates that have increased from the greenhouses,
Yes.
from the immigrant workers.
The lack of testing their migrant workers on
Yeah.
their farms. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Which I think it was a fair thing to do. It's like, why should we suffer when it's just those two areas that are holding up? the entire-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if I had a garbage person of the week this week, I would, but I don't. But if I did, it would be the MPP for Essex out of the NDP party, Terrace Nadishak,
Mhm.
as I call him,
Yeah.
who just called our premier a piece of
Piece of
shit.
shit. A piece of shit. Yeah.
Which he's just mad, but this guy is too stupid to realize it's the right thing to do.
Mhm.
To keep Kingsville, Leamington, unfortunately, closed into stage 1. So it's not necessary. But if I had a garbage person of the week, that would be him. And like I said, I just read the tweet before the show started, and bunch of nonsense. But it's great that we're in stage 2. Let's just go outside more. Let's just do things. But it is a little limited, and I'll get to that more in my rant a little bit later. But I'm glad that we are in stage 2, and we can kind of move forward and get back to actual normal, not new normal, actual normal.
Mhm. Well, so there you go. So, but yeah, everything is starting to open up. I know a lot of the females around are very excited that hair salons and nail places are opening up, which I know is very important to them. I know, it's been, I'd say, a solid 3, almost 4 months since the last time I had a haircut. So it's you know what, it's going to be different, that everything is going to be back up to somewhat normal conditions, especially like restaurants and bars. A lot of people investing their funds in, like, if you're a bar owner, I should say, or restaurant owner,
right.
in like outdoor patios, right? Because that's what they're allowed to. I don't know how many people they can have actually inside their establishment, and will face masks still be mandatory, when earlier this week they were saying that it's going to be mandatory to any commercial establishment come Friday.
Right. Yeah, and I'll cover that in just a few minutes. About these masks and how that relates to what we have to do as of Friday. But yeah, it's a step in the right direction, and the necessary places need to open, and we need to have that out there. Businesses need to operate. And you're right, they do. Everybody needs things done. Businesses need to survive. And speaking of businesses needing to survive, you know what's happening in Japan?
What's happening?
They canceled all the Halloween houses, like haunted houses.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously COVID-19, all that other stuff.
Right.
But there is a solution, and it's a pretty cool solution. I wish they could do that here. I wish somebody would do it here if it's still not open, because Halloween is on a Saturday this year. So this would be a pretty sweet idea. They created a drive-in haunted house, which guests are confined in their car. Which is, if you really think about it, if you're driving through or sitting through, I don't know, maybe a zombie pack. So that's what these guys did in Japan. They're creating a drive-in haunted house where they're able to control the outside environment, and you're stuck in your car while they, parade crazy shit around you.
Right.
Like zombies or whatever, monsters and whatever else. I think that's a pretty cool idea. What do you think?
No, it's obviously something that you look at. Obviously, for those, especially in this area, that they're well, especially in Michigan, I know the haunted houses and the haunted hay rides are a big thing for tourists and people's livelihood. You know, depends on those haunted houses. So for them to adjust to where we are in a society right now, I like the idea. I like the creativity. And will we see something like that here? Probably not, but
yeah, it would be cool.
It would be cool, and obviously, you know, if someone has the space and the area to do something like that, maybe this gives them an idea to do it. But like when it comes to like Halloween and people handing out candy and all this stuff, that's not going to happen. At least not this year.
No,
if anything, like you can still have Halloween, Jake. Is what I'm saying. Is that put out a bowl with a sign that says "Happy Halloween, please take one," and then move on. That way, you're not
with a camera, so one of those other kids doesn't steal the whole damn fucking bowl. Like it happens.
Well, obviously,
you know those kids. You know those kids.
Jake always shakes his fist at those meddling kids always stealing his candy.
Yeah. All those teenagers.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, if you think about it, if you do something like an African lion safari style, where the cars just go in a circle, and you know things are happening in as you're going by in certain sections, that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah,
I would definitely do that.
But
you know, hordes of zombies, bunches of monsters, things jumping at your car, would be pretty sweet.
Sure, yeah. At least, you know, for those that get scared easily, like walking through a haunted house, they have that protection of being inside a car, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there you go.
Cool. All right. Now, here's today's rant as we wrap up the show today. And Darren already touched a little bit on this earlier, a few seconds ago in our COVID section of our show. Now, as of 12:01 a.m. on Friday, June 26th, all owners and operators of commercial establishments in Windsor, Essex, are to prohibit the entry of any person who is not wearing a face covering unless the person cannot wear one due to medical reasons or age.
Yeah.
So, what that basically tells you, you have to wear a face mask at a public establishment, like a grocery store or whatever else.
Right.
Now, for someone who is forced to wear a face mask for 8 hours plus at work, me.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a great idea. Now, I'm telling you why, because I'm just going to say this sucks and just leave it. No. One, I don't want to wear a face mask because it prohibits my breathing patterns. It's not safe to wear a face mask. You guys can look this up. I'm not going to do it for you. Can't do all the research for you. You guys can go and look how much face masks should not be worn for over a certain period of time. If you just wear one to the store and back, cool. But a lot of us wear it for over 8 hours at work and restricts our breathing. And it sends the particles back into your nostrils. And it does a lot of bad for your health and your immune system. So adding this, that it's mandatory, nothing should be mandatory for some of us that wear masks for 8 hours a day. Forcing us to wear masks as we go outside to do things we need to do at stores or wherever else is above and beyond the government, overreaching, overstepping. And I understand why, yes, minimize with this and that, but it's a public space. It's a public space. The government should not tell us what to do in a public space. If a store decides that's their policy, they can decide that for their workers. I want to choose where I want to go. This is still sort of a free country. I don't want to be forced to wear something I don't want to wear. It's as simple as that. There's no argument against that. If I don't want to wear it, I shouldn't have to be forced to wear it to go get food. It's as simple as that. You don't feel safe? wear it. I do. I don't want to. It's that simple.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I look at it. I understand you don't want your rights to be, pressed upon, but when it comes to like going into someone else's establishment, you have to obey their rules of their store.
Right. But it's not the store's rules. This is the government rules.
Yes, but the store has to comply with the government.
Well, yeah, because if not, they face a fine. So they obviously will. Nobody wants to lose the money. But again, if the government didn't have this rule, the store wouldn't do it.
Right. But it's more for protections of other people around you, because it shows like that you're taking this seriously and you're also caring for them. It's kind of like, helping out your fellow man by doing this,
Right. Unfortunately, Darren, unless you're wearing a hospital mask.
So you don't.
No. Unless you're wearing unless you're wearing a hospital mask, right. The cloth mask or the readily available paper mask doesn't do anything to stop the spread of the virus. So you're just a douche with a mask.
Well, I'm not saying it at 100%. Protects. If you cough in the mask, that no particles are going to get out. No,
they're going to get out.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that, but it cuts significantly, those particles from, spreading out as much further as you would have if you didn't have a mask on. So if I have a 50% chance of protecting myself than having a 0% chance of people not wearing a mask, I'll wear a mask every time I have to go into an establishment.
Yeah, now it's weird because it's retail stores, convenience stores, malls, plazas, restaurants, personal service settings, grocery stores, bakeries, gas stations, farmers markets, and shops and car dealerships. Yeah, basically what's open right now. Again, it's not that necessary. You already have your 6 feet apart stickers on the ground. You don't feel safe, wear a fucking mask. But don't make everybody, follow the leader from the government, because if you know what you should be doing it yourself. If you don't want to, I choose not to. So basically, get all your groceries by Thursday, hold out a week or two until this blows over. That's what I'm doing. And I catch my ass in the store on a Friday when this all comes into play. Bunch of nonsense. There you go. There's my rant.
There you go. Just if you see Jake away, at a store, just make sure you give him his 6 feet of space. Or
hell yeah, you should do that anyway. I don't want to be near anybody.
I know.
Personal space.
I know people. He comes across as a very cuddly, loving guy, but
every day
you can be a real asshole sometimes.
Only rarely. On rare occasions, it does happen.
Only on rare occasion. Like us talking about sports.
Or the Lions.
Especially the Lions.
Especially the Lions.
That's why I missed our Monday morning quarterback chats when it comes to talking about the Lions.
Oh, you know what? And everything goes well. We'll get back into destroying this team in season 4.
That's right.
When football gets back
eventually
on TV. Yes.
Might be a shortened season, but it'll
that's cool.
Come back.
As long as there's football, I'm good.
That's all that matters.
Hey, this would be a nice little. When they start playing without fans, there's going to be a preview for the Lions that they still suck for the next 5 years. That's what Ford Field's going to look like anyway.
I'm just trying to think. Just one quick little sports debate that I want to bring up to you, Jake. What if, let's say, the Tigers actually win the World Series this year?
Cool.
Do they get an asterisk beside their name?
Yeah, they will. 1, because it's Detroit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
2, because it's a shortened season under semi-normal rules. But whatever, it still will be the World Series. It's not going to happen, but it'll be cool. Yeah. I'd be excited.
Oh,
I'd be super excited.
give us this town something to cheer about, especially all the crap that they've been through, especially with them being in the COVID hotbed for like the longest time. Yeah. Exactly. Just to follow up from our last episode on our Twitter poll.
Oh, here we go.
We had 5 votes on our Twitter poll, and 4 of them said yes, golf is a sport. So there you go.
The one vote that said it wasn't was me.
I kind of figured it would be you because I know how you love to stir the pot there, Jake.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I went golfing yesterday, and it was was an athletic.
You're such an athlete, Darrin.
Hey, I like to see you out in the golf course there, Jake.
No, I'm okay. I got my basketball court in front. I'm good.
I got my basketball court.
I got my NBA net.
Yeah. Who do you play against? Your 2 little children?
Nobody actually. I play Michael Jordan's ghost when he can actually still shoot.
There you go. You dunk over them and you give them the Mutombo finger. No.
No.
No,
it's really good. I did. Sidebar. I did buy a full-size soccer net. It's now in my front yard.
Oh, was that an Amazon purchase?
Yes, and speaking of which, those fucking bastards. It was the first thing I ordered at the beginning of COVID, and guess what? It was the last thing to arrive 2 weeks ago.
So, is this a full-size regulation soccer net?
Yeah, almost full size. Yeah, because the real full size were super expensive, but no, this one's huge. Yeah, it's like 6 feet by 10 feet.
Okay.
So it's pretty good. Yeah.
So
it's pretty good.
Are you practicing your free kick set pieces?
Yeah, definitely set pieces. I like that curve.
Mm-hmm.
I like to curve the ball, depending on which side of my foot I use, into the top corner. So I practice a little bit.
A little bend it like Beckham?
Yeah, more like send it like Totti. You know what I mean?
Send it like Totti. I like it. Or send it like Pirlo, whoever.
Whatever. Either way, works for me. And there you go.
There you go.
All right.
It's been fun.
That's the show. So for the ADG podcast, I am Jakub.
And I'm Darrin.
And we are ADG.